Yo, what is going on, guys? It is episode 13 of this podcast. Fast Times with Asseo. I'm here. It is Thursday with Luke, and you know what day it is? It's NFL talk.
It's NFL Wednesdays.
NFL Wednesdays. Honestly, it's NFL anytime Luke is sitting next to me.
Pretty much.
And there's no one else. So, we're just going to fucking rant about the NFL. So, this weekend was actually fucking...
Yeah, this was an insane weekend for NFL.
Weekend. I'm going to actually pull up the scores just because I need the fucking scores in front of me.
A lot of shit happened, and after the games were over, a lot of more shit happened.
Did you see the Cardinals-Falcons game? Matt Bryant.
I was following it at work, and I saw that the Cardinals were winning by a lot, and then Matt Bryant missed the extra point.
You just see that guy. He literally was on a knee after that thing, just sitting there. Like, you knew he either was going to get a chewing out or he was going to get cut.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a really, really bad. They worked so hard to get back in that game. They were losing the majority of the game. They were down 27-10. They worked their entire way back in the fourth, and all of that for a missed extra point. That kills them. And the funniest thing, I suppose we can talk about Monday Night Football after Sunday's games.
Yeah.
Because Monday Night Football, man, fuck. I watched that game. That game was stupid.
No, but with this game, the thing that blew my mind is the fact that with the Cardinals is the Cliff Kingsbury's air raid offense looked like it finally fucking worked.
Yeah, they've been very, very good. In the last two games that they've won 2 in a row now, and they beat Cincinnati. And also, Kyler Murray is starting to look like the best rookie quarterback.
Really?
I think he is.
What was his passing yards?
340 yards, 3 touchdowns, 27 of 37. 27 of 37, 32 rushing yards. And then
he's not a good runner.
He is. He's so fast, though. But look at this. The week before, 93 yards on 10 carries. But the thing is, they don't design runs for him. Pretty much every play they run.
Like LeVar.
No, their offense is built on Kyler Murray making plays. So whether he's scrambling or he's throwing a check down to David Johnson, which worked out so well.
Oh, so it's not. I thought they were going to use Kyler Murray, kind of how Lamar Jackson.
No, a lot of Kyler Murray's runs you see are because he's so fast and so athletic. He makes plays with scrambling, kind of like Russell Wilson. They don't really design runs for him that much, but they make plays with their legs. He's like a more explosive Aaron Rodgers when it comes to scrambling.
Oh, okay, so Kyler Murray actually has good skills as a passing quarterback.
Yeah, because their entire offense is built around him spreading the ball around. The funniest thing that I saw was let me look up how many different receivers for that game caught a pass. There was 7 in the first quarter. In that game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different receivers caught a pass, and the most catches anyone had was 6. And no one had over 70 yards receiving, and Kyler Murray still 3 for 340.
That's insane.
And another guy that I like a lot that they've started to play more is the backup running back for them, Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, he's
had back-to-back games where he's had touchdowns, and he's their big play threat. Whenever David Johnson needs a break.
They're using him more pass catching.
They're still running the ball, but they don't really run it. They throw checkdowns to the running backs, and it works.
You see the London game, the Panthers. First off, Kyle Allen, I think. So I read a report. If Kyle Allen won this game against the Buccaneers, he was going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the year.
I think he should be. Until proven otherwise.
Exactly. I'm going with this point. Why fix something if it's not broke?
So here, and you see that instances where it's worked out in the past. I'm going to obviously bring up my fucking team because,
So you think Cam's gone then?
I think they might have to trade him. So think about it this way. Maybe they'll do what the Niners did. I was going to talk about that. The Niners, we were doing good. Alex Smith gets benched. Colin Kaepernick comes in. And just the team plays better around him. And when the team plays better, why would you change up your game plan when everything's working? The Panthers are starting to realize that they ran their offense wrong. Because Cam Newton can make plays, but they don't need to build their offense around that when they have the best running back in football and one of the best defenses in football.
So they just had Kyle Allen's kind of Kyle Allen's
he's a game manager.
I was about to say he's a game manager, but he's done more than just being a game manager because he's throwing for 300 yards.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of those are checkdowns to Christian McCaffrey where he makes plays, and they have good receivers like DJ Moore. But you cannot fix what's going on with the.
I was looking for my water.
Oh, just grab a water from over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Continue.
Yeah. So Kyle Allen, he's a game manager. He is a game manager, but. They are winning games, and until they finally lose and play bad, wait, can you grab me one too?
Yeah.
Until they play bad and lose, can't switch.
I think, and now that we're on this game is what about Jameis Winston? He led the league in fantasy points, this week.
I don't understand. I don't understand the Bucks as a team because they looked so good against the Rams, and they looked good for the first 3 quarters against the Giants, and they looked really good the first time they played the Panthers, and they won. So their run defense is one of the best in football, but their secondary sucks, and more often than that, their defense isn't even that bad. Jameis Winston has games where he'll do that, where he'll throw 5 picks.
But then he'll have games he'll look like the fucking face of the franchise.
Like, you don't understand with him, and you don't understand with the Bucks as a team. Like, they are so inconsistent. Like, they have 2 top 10 receivers this year in football right now.
Exactly. And Mike Evans isn't even playing that great this year.
And he had 9 catches and 96 yards, and he still got outshadowed by Chris Godwin. He started out better, but Chris
Godwin's insane.
I expected him to be good, but before the season, the funniest thing,
I didn't think he was going to be the number 1 receiver.
Bruce Arians said before the season started, Chris Godwin's going to catch 100 passes in this offense. People were like, yeah, but Mike Evans has had 1,000 yards 5 years in a row, and he's been one of the best receivers in football. But Chris Godwin, I guess, just fits better with the Bucs scheme.
Yeah. What about this shit bowl? First off, I've been saying all the time, I called this game that Adrian Peterson was going to have 100 yards. He had 116 yards, 5.1 average against the fucking...
Great fantasy pickup if you picked him up, even though he didn't have a touchdown. He had 100 yards, and it's a good sign going forward because they did feed him the ball. And also Terry McLaurin, I picked him up, but I traded him for Chris Carson in our league. But I still like him, and he's showing he's doing well no matter who's throwing the ball to him because they don't have any other options.
You picked him up and traded for Chris Carson?
I picked him up, and I did a trade with Terry McLaurin and Chris Carson. It was Terry McLaurin and Kenny Galladay, and I got Chris Carson.
That's a good deal.
Chris Carson has been one of the best running backs in football since I picked him up. He had one bad game where he fumbled, but this is the stat. This was his game that he did bad. My first week I got him, he was bad. But so was Kenny Galladay when I traded him to Strange. Last 3 weeks, 100 rushing yards, 20 carries in each game. He's their workhorse. And even with Rashad Penny back, it doesn't matter because...
Dolphins are some shit. Do you think the Dolphins are on purposely bad, or...
Well, here's the thing. Players never play purposely bad because they know they can't because they may not be with the team next year and they want their careers to be good. But the Dolphins, their organization is just sending a team out there that's not going to be good, but that'll at least try and compete so they can get something. They got some good pieces. Undrafted rookie, Preston Williams.
Preston Williams is really good. He's I don't know why they gave a contract to Devontae Parker, a guy who's never broken 700 yards in a season.
I don't understand it either. I guess they still want to believe that he can turn the corner. And Kenyon Drake's a solid piece too, and Mark Walton's solid too, but
I don't believe in paying running backs. I believe you can find a good running back.
You know what? And the best examples of the Niners is although we kind of paid Tevin Coleman, we had 4, but he's hurt, and we're not going to keep him after this year because we have 4 really good running backs that all split time.
And Matt Breida.
Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida, undrafted rookie last year, Matt Breida. That's all we need. And the Dolphins just need a quarterback. I think the pieces are there.
You don't think Rosen can do it?
Nope.
He was the most pro-ready quarterback when he came out of the draft.
That's what they thought, but he faltered at Arizona, and his coach bailed on him for a reason because they look better with Kyler Murray out there.
That is true. Teddy Bridgewater, I love him. I've always said we should have kept him.
He needs to be a starter in the league after this season.
Do you think he goes to a team like the Dolphins?
No, because I think they want to. They need to realize that playing young players is probably the best way that they're going to be able to get back. You have to sometimes put rookies out there.
Oh, so you don't think it's worth the best to get a 26-year-old?
I think the Dolphins need to, unless the Dolphins don't want to draft a quarterback and they think they're more ready. But I think that you know what you're going to get with Teddy Bridgewater, and he's solid and he's effective, but he's not going to change your franchise like what Tua could potentially do. And I think that's what the draft's all about.
I think Tua's overrated.
Who do you think's the best quarterback? Jake Fromm? He's like Alex Smith. I don't like Jake
Fromm.
No,
I don't like Jake Fromm.
The kid from Utah State?
Who's Utah State? There's
Jordan Love.
There's Justin Herbert.
He's from Oregon, and he should have came out last year doing the top quarterback pick.
Yeah, no.
But he wanted to stay in college. I guess he felt he wasn't pro ready. He's still good though.
You know who's doing really good? Tom Flacco. They're saying he's gonna be a 6th-round pick out of Towson.
Really?
He's 6'1". He's the best quarterback in the Colonial Athletics Association.
Man, I did not know that. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's and people are saying he's gonna get drafted because
Little Flacco.
Yeah, he's 6'1", but he's mobile.
Not as tall as his fucking brother though.
Nah.
His brother's a giant.
So the Jags just. Did you know Leonard Fournette's the 3rd leading rusher in the NFL?
Yeah, because they can't throw. And Gardner Minshew's just a game manager. I like him, but like he's effective, and the pieces the Jags know where they are now with trading Jalen Ramsey. Gardner Minshew.
Do you think Nick Foles can come back to the starting job?
Trust the rookie. You're not going to be good. You traded away your best player. You got 2 first-round picks. You know what the direction of your franchise is. Leonard Fournette's still a young running back. You know where you're going. I build through the draft. Acquire assets, acquire picks, and build your team. The Jags have drafted well before. We've seen it. They traded. They let Allen Robinson walk because he had one good year, but Blake Bortles looked good for a year. Their defense was almost entirely drafted when they got Yannick Ngakoue and Jalen Ramsey, and Miles Jack.
I think that. Do you like Doug Marrone?
No. I think they shouldn't have promoted him to head coach when he was interim coach. They were good in 2017, but I think they should have taken a new direction with the franchise after they fired was it Gus Bradley? Yeah,
because Gus Bradley and then Doug Marrone's first season, they went insane.
Yeah, and they looked good, but I don't know. I think they could have hired somebody else. I think the pieces were there for that team, and I think that team has regressed because they invested too much money in AJ Bouye when he was good for the first year they had him.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey was their best player, and they should have just sucked up and extended him at the beginning of the year.
Let me pull up that trade, the whole fucking...
I know they got 2 first-round picks.
It's a 3-way trade, you know that, right?
No, it is?
Yeah.
That was just Rams giving up first-round picks.
And it's with the Ravens, too. So
they got a Kenny... What's-his-face?
So it goes, Marcus Peters got traded to Baltimore.
Yeah.
They got Austin Corbett from the Browns.
Yeah.
And then they got Jalen Ramsey. They gave up...
No, it wasn't a 3-way trade. They just made 2 separate trades with 2 different teams.
Yeah, but they had to get rid of Marcus Peters
yes.
to open up cap space for Jalen Ramsey.
Yes, they did, but the Ravens and Jags didn't actually exchange assets.
Oh.
I think that what happened was that they fucked up. The Jags didn't pay Jalen Ramsey what he wanted, and he wanted his money. I think if they gave him his money, he'd have stayed. But they didn't give him his money. Then they started losing, and then he got mad that they were losing, and he's like, "You guys didn't even give me my money, so what? Why am I going to stay here and lose when you're not paying me?" And they just didn't want to pay him, and he got in an argument with Doug Marrone. And
I'm surprised the Raiders weren't the ones who pulled the trigger on this.
I think it was good that the Raiders didn't pull the trigger because they're kind of respectable right now. Even without Antonio Brown, they lucked into one of the best tight ends in football.
Who's their tight end?
Darren Waller.
Is he actually that good?
He's on pace for 120 catches. They use him like a receiver because he played receiver in college. Look at his stats. Look at his stats, Pro Football Reference this year. He had 13 catches. He's had 7 catches in every 7, 6, 13, 7, and 4.
Holy shit!
He doesn't have a touchdown catch, but they have Josh Jacobs for touchdowns.
Josh Jacobs is filthy.
Yeah, his catch. Look at him. He has 37 catches, which is I think it's up towards the top of tight ends.
His rookie year, he played wide receiver.
He played wide receiver in college, but he's big, so they moved him to tight end, and linebackers can't cover him. He doesn't block, but they don't really need him to block because he is a really, really good tight end, and they lucked into him this year. And
he plays a shit ton of their snaps, dude.
Yeah, because he's their only tight end for offense, and their offense revolves around him. He leads the team in receiving.
6'6", 250. You know who should become a tight end? Calvin Benjamin.
Yeah, because he'd be a mismatch for linebackers, but he's kind of slow. But he'd still be a good matchup. But
he'd be like a Jimmy Graham type shit.
Not as good though, and he's a worse blocker. He's no help blocking.
Bengals, Ravens, we all know it. Bengals suck. I think
they're competing though. They at least.
You think Andy Dalton's done?
I think so. I think the Bengals need to also realize where they're at too and tank.
Is Joe Mixon ass this year?
Yeah. Well, yes and no.
Because his team is ass?
His team is ass. I think he's a good running back. You saw how good he was last year, but the Bengals can't run the ball because their offensive line sucks, so they have to throw a lot. And they're also behind because their defense sucks, so then they have to throw even more. So, I like him. I traded for him just today.
Yeah, as a Baltimore Ravens fan, I was watching this game on Sunday, and honestly, I kept watching this kid, Auden Tate, because you know who I thought Auden Tate was the whole time? AJ Green, because I kept seeing the 9. I was like, dude, is that AJ Green? And they're like, he's not playing. I was like, what? And it was this guy, Auden Tate, and I was like, this guy is filthy.
I know, I just traded for him. I like him, and the Bengals have to throw a lot because their defense sucks, and then their offensive line sucks for run blocking, so they can't run. So, Joe Mixon is a good player. He's a good player, and he was good last year, and we saw it. He should have made the Pro Bowl last year, but...
he didn't make the Pro Bowl last year?
No.
Damn. He had 1,000 yards.
Led rookies in rushing yards. Not rookies, he wasn't a rookie, it was his second year, I forgot.
John Harbaugh or your former offense coordinator, Greg Roman, is a fucking genius.
Yeah.
He created this offense.
Colin Kaepernick. I've been saying that. He is Colin Kaepernick. They're using him like we used Colin Kaepernick, and it works.
But the thing is that I don't know if... So, I remember when Colin Kaepernick, they never did... So, the way the Ravens do is they have 3 tight ends. We did 2 tight ends.
We had Delanie Walker and Vernon Davis.
Delanie Walker and Vernon Davis running a lot and play actions and read
and
options.
It works. It works.
So this is the
Greg Roman loves tight ends, yeah.
So Greg Roman gets these 3 tight ends. Nick Boyle, Hayden Hurst, and
Mark Andrews.
Hayden
Hurst isn't as good, though. Mark Andrews is by far the best tight end of that offense, and I traded them at the beginning
of
the
year. But you know what all 3 of these guys' main skill is, though?
What, vertical passing game?
No, blocking. They're both.
They're big threats in the vertical passing game. They're like in blocking.
Their best skill for all 3 of these guys, they're natural blockers. So what he did was he got 3 really good blockers who can catch the ball.
And they get the ball deep.
Yeah. So
Mark Andrews was torching people on the vertical passes because he's good at running down the field and making catches, and since they run the ball well, it works.
So what they do is they get Miles Boykin, Seth Roberts. So they run 3 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and 1 to 2 running backs in the backfield, and they fucking
and they have Lamar Jackson.
And Lamar Jackson. So look at this. They're running backs. They have 4 running backs. So all they're doing is fucking making you think.
And I like their running backs. Justice Hill and Gus Edwards are solid players.
These 2 guys are power backs.
And then Justice Hill was great in college at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, great elusive. Then you got Miles Boykins, Hollywood Brown, Willie Snead, Chris Moore, and Seth Roberts just stretching. It feels like, look, all these guys, Miles Boykins, Seth Roberts, just catch fucking vertical passes.
Because that's the only thing they need to run, because teams are scared about the power run game, so they don't know what to do when it's not a run. And Lamar Jackson is making enough throws right now that it works. They've looked bad in some games, although their defense was what really let them down against Cleveland. I still think Cleveland is going to win that division, because
really?
If you look at who Cleveland plays, after they play the Patriots next week after their bye week, nobody. They have the easiest remaining schedule in the league. They are going to tear up the rest of their schedule and win a lot of games. They already beat Baltimore once. They dominated Baltimore. That division sucks.
The thing that pissed me off is that we didn't we usually shell out a shit ton of money. We didn't pay C.J. Mosley, who we should have paid.
Yeah, their defense does not look as good at all.
We didn't pay Zadarius. If we were going to give
up... Zadarius Smith! Oh my god, he's so good.
If we were going to give
I was loud, but he's so good for the Packers, man.
Yeah, no, literally, the thing is like, if you're going to give up so many players on defense, why didn't you at least pay one of them a shit ton of money?
I mean, they did sign Earl Thomas, so, I guess it kind of, works, but, man... C.J. Mosley and Zadarius Smith, one of them should have stayed.
One of them. Keep one of them.
Texans and Chiefs. Oh, man.
That was a good game. Deshaun Watson's the truth.
I know. I always loved Deshaun Watson, but he just makes plays. That's literally...
The reason... Why was he drafted so low? Was it because of his knee, or did they think he was not pro-ready?
No. So, you ever heard of a guy named Taj Boyd, Clemson?
Of course, Taj Boyd, number 4.
Taj Boyd. All-time school leader.
Number 10.
So he played in a loaded offense with a lot of NFL players, like DeAndre Hopkins and Sammy Watkins, and then Mike Williams his freshman year. So, Taj Boyd played in that same scheme, did not translate well to the NFL at all. People were scared because they're like, oh, Deshaun plays in a loaded offense with a lot of great players, and it's a spread offense. They don't ask their quarterback to make many reads. Can he do it? But people are scared about that. But Deshaun Watson gets drafted lower than most people think. People forget that, Taj Boyd didn't have to play against NFL-ready defenses like Alabama. And Taj Boyd got shat on when he played against a good defense.
And
this kid destroyed Alabama 2 years in a row and could have won both times.
Yeah. Carlos Hyde coming out of nowhere.
It's because the Chiefs... I think it's more about the Chiefs' defense than it is.
You think? Look at this.
I like Carlos Hyde. He was a solid running back for the 49ers, but there's a reason we don't have him anymore. And I think the only reason that he is doing good right now is because...
Look at his 80.
That was week 1 against the Saints.
60, 160. He's running.
He had 19 yards against the Chargers, man. And he had 60 yards. That's not a good output. It's 2.86. But he was good last week because the Chiefs' defense is really bad. Their run defense is one of the worst in football. The Colts did the same thing the week before. People know how to beat the Chiefs now because their defense is bad.
True, and Patty Mahomes is hurt.
Yeah, he's been hurt since he aggravated his ankle injury. Yeah. But he's still playing good. Their offense is still not bad.
But
their defense is just completely awful, and they can't do anything.
You know what I'm surprised? DeAnthony Thomas did not get, when Tyreek Hill was out, They didn't try to put the Anthony Thomas
because they don't think he's actually that good. They actually played that guy from K-State, Pringle,
yeah, that's
and
what I'm
Mecole
saying.
Hardman. So like they didn't need Anthony Thomas because they felt more comfortable with like DeMarcus Robinson and those guys.
Anthony Thomas is so fast though.
Yeah, but he's not that good. He's their punt returner.
Seahawks versus Browns.
That was nuts.
Problem with the Browns, and I think I said this since day one. I didn't like the hiring. I thought it was stupid.
Or Freddie Kitchens.
Freddie Kitchens,
not a good coach.
He was the quarterbacks coach last year. Then
he was the
Haley,
OC. Yeah.
Todd Haley got fired, and so did Hugh Jackson. He got promoted from running backs, not even quarterbacks coach, running backs coach.
He was OC.
To OC.
Yeah.
And he was OC for only first OC job ever for 6 or 7 games.
They looked good,
and they hired him over
Greg
Bruce
Williams.
Arians, Greg Williams.
I honestly don't think Bruce Arians should have gone to the Browns. I think Bruce Arians was a better fit for the Bucs. But I'm going to say this. They should have hired Greg Williams. Because Greg Williams, keeping the staff the same that was good, that won games, they could have kept Freddie Kitchens as OC. I don't think any other team in the NFL was looking at Freddie Kitchens as a coach.
They need Baker Mayfield needs...
They have no leadership in that locker room.
Baker Mayfield, I think, needs a quarterback, a coach from the Andy Reid coaching tree. A Doug Peterson, a Frank Reich, a Andy Reid, because that's the same offense that Brett Favre played in is the same offense Andy Reid, because Andy Reid was his offensive coordinator.
Yeah, because he was under Mike Holmgren.
Under Holmgren, so it's pretty much the Holmgren tree, or like a John Gruden or something, where it's a modern day West Coast offense. And I think that's what Baker Mayfield.
They have one of the best running backs in football. He seems like the only threat that they have.
And they don't play action. They need it. Well,
they have Nick fucking Chubb in the backfield. They need to play. They have Odell and Jarvis Landry. It's not like they don't have what. To be fair, their offensive line is one of the worst in football.
Oh yeah,
and it showed.
And they just traded away one of their tackles.
It has showed that. But like, I think when they play shittier teams at the end of the season, we're going to see that they'll at least push their way back into the playoffs.
100%. This game made me so happy as a Vikings fan. I fucking hate Kirk Cousins, but my man, 22 of 29.
He played against a shitty secondary. The Eagles are the best run defense in football, but he played against a shitty secondary.
Alexander Mattson.
He had like one 30-yard run, though. The rest of it wasn't a lot. And Dalvin Cook was held in check most of the game, too. I benched him in one of my leagues. I still won, but I benched him.
Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to feed the ball to Stephon one of these games.
Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, I should have known. I should have thought since they played the Eagles that they would have done it. But I didn't trust Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins...
Why can't we do this game? We still ran for over 100 yards rushing, and we still had 300 yards, and we still provided the ball. Why can't we do this every game? Why don't we spell...
Because you don't play the Eagles every game.
I know, but why can't we keep up with that idea, you know? I feel like that's the way. It is the best way to do it, you know?
You don't play the Eagles every game, and the Vikings, like... I don't know. I think they are a good team, and I think that, like, even though I don't like Kirk Cousins, and I think he sucks.
You don't like Kirk Cousins?
Nah, he sucks.
Oh, no, I mean, not Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz. But yeah.
Oh, no, Carson Wentz is awesome. I think
Kirk Cousins is terrible.
Kirk Cousins is terrible, but the Vikings are loaded. The Vikings are literally put in the best position to help them succeed. They have two great receivers. They have a great running back.
Is it the coach, or is it Kirk Cousins?
It's Kirk Cousins. Oh my.
You don't think Mike Zimmer is the problem?
No, they went 13-3 with Case fucking Keenum.
True.
With the entirety of the same team, pretty much. It is not the coach. It is the quarterback. Case Keenum sucks, don't get me wrong, and the defense isn't what it was that year that they went 13-3, but it's still good. The roster's still great. Kirk Cousins just sucks. He needs to play better.
Kirk Cousins' problem is that now that his money's guaranteed and shit...
He also just has always sucked in primetime games. If you look at his record against winning teams, like, look it up. It's something like 5-20 something. It's really bad. He can't beat good teams. It's like... Okay, 4-24. He's 0-5 this year. Oh wait, no, go back. He finally beat a winning team. That's their first win that he had in a winning team.
He was 1-8.
And Minnesota, not just in Washington. He sucked in Washington too. Vikings he didn't beat a single team last year that was over 500.
I'm trying to see.
0-2 versus winners.
They're not showing his fucking career.
Just look up Kirk Cousins versus winning team's career.
Oh, we're idiots. Last year, 1-8. He's 4-24, and then
this was before this season.
So he's like probably 5-26 this year.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's bad. Yeah, that's fucking terrible. 5-27. So he's now 6-27.
Can't beat good teams. Didn't do it. Threw for a lot of yards in Washington. A lot of those games they lost, and a lot of those games he didn't have a running game, and they were behind, so they had to throw. That's why passing yards is not a good way to measure how good. Like Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford's a good quarterback.
Yes. Not a great one. Not a great one. He's a good one. Doesn't make enough plays for this.
He's probably the 10th best quarterback in this league.
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson.
No. Patrick Mahomes.
No, I'm just counting I'm just saying.
Oh, you're not doing
No. I'm just saying
Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes,
Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson,
Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz,
yeah. Phillip Rivers.
Drew Brees,
yeah. That's 8.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, when he's healthy, yeah, that's 9.
And then right there, he's number 10. Matthew Stafford.
I'm thinking about other guys who might. I think Dak and Matt Stafford are comparable. I think Matt Stafford's in the Dak Prescott league. I think they're good, but
they're the same. They're the same level. You can win a Super Bowl.
Cam Newton's on the same level as them too when he's healthy.
Those are old quarterbacks.
Those ones are like preference. They're all good, and you can Cam Newton played in the Super Bowl.
You never want to pay them.
Dak Prescott was 13-3.
Yeah, you never want to pay them.
Matt Ryan, we didn't even think about it. I think Matt Ryan's better than Matt Stafford. That's 10.
I think Matt Ryan's overrated. Matt Ryan's had Julio Jones his whole career pretty much to throw to.
I think he's better than Stafford.
He's literally had Rodney White, Julio Jones, Michael Jenkins, Tony Gonzalez.
He had Michael Turner as his running back.
Yeah,
and he has Devontae Freeman now.
And then he also had Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, and he also had Kyle Shanahan as his fucking offensive coordinator. So super lucky that he got to play for Kyle Shanahan.
And Mike Smith wasn't a bad coach either.
No, they were successful for a while.
What the fuck happened to Mike Smith?
Got fired. I think he was a DC in Tampa and then got fired from that. So.
Wait, he coached?
I think he was a DC in Tampa after he got fired from the Falcons.
Well, yeah, he went to Tampa and he was the DC, yeah.
And they fired him because he sucked.
Yeah, they fired him last year.
Yeah, they did. Because their defense was ass last year. But
yeah, last year they fired him.
When we beat them in the NFC Championship game.
That was a good game.
Alright. And fucking my Niners, man.
Oh, now let's get over that, yeah.
God damn, we look good. Our defense is legit.
The Rams are trash, though.
They look good their first 3 games. They beat the Saints, man, with Drew Brees.
Jimmy G's the real one.
He does enough. We have a great running game. We have a great defense.
Yeah,
and we have the
number one
best
running back. I'm surprised your wide receivers don't go off. You just have George Kittle go off every game. Jimmy Ward's having kind of a good year.
Our defense is tired. Fred Warner's good. Quan Alexander's good.
I mean, you guys wasted a pick on Solomon Thomas.
Still good. He's been good this year.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. But he is our 4th best defensive lineman. I think we could have got somebody better, but I still think Solomon Thomas is good.
Like, literally, look at this. Your best lineman is definitely Armstead.
No,
DeForest Buckner.
DeForest Buckner and then Nick Bosa second.
Oh, yeah. DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa,
Armstead, and then Solomon Thomas. He's our 4th best defensive lineman, which is scary. Oh, no. 5th. D Ford.
Oh, yeah, D Ford. D Ford's probably your 2nd or 3rd best.
I think 3rd. I think Nick Bosa better. But...
Really?
Yeah. And then Quan Alexander, Richard Sherman.
Jimmy Ward's been having a quiet year.
Fred Warner. Jaquaski Tartt's really good.
Fred Warner's that undersized middle linebacker.
For BYU that led our team in tackles last year.
He's not undersized. He's 6'3".
But he's fast. Him and Quan Alexander in the center of the field.
He looks small.
Him and Quan Alexander in the center of the field. Oh my God.
Right. He's only like 230.
Yeah. But he's like Deion Jones for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Quick.
Deion Jones or like Ryan Shazier.
Yeah.
Before he got hurt, where they were just
undersized and quick, and he works out really well. And our entire defense is loaded. With Quan Alexander was a beast for the Bucks. Plays for us now. Also really good.
What happened to Marcus Mariota?
He sucks, dude. He sucks.
I want to pull up his stats right now of his first.
He got benched for Ryan Tannehill. Can't believe that.
I never thought Ryan Tannehill was that bad of a quarterback.
They won a playoff game 2 years ago.
Yeah, with Ryan Tannehill. I'm saying
with Marcus Mariota. They won a playoff game.
Oh.
They beat the Chiefs.
Well,
Marcus Mariota. What the fuck is going on?
Ryan Tannehill is a star. Has the potential to be a starting quarterback, and you know why? It's because Ryan Tannehill never had a really good fucking team around him.
He always had an average team, and he was always average. I think he's an average player. He got hurt though. We don't know if he's going to be the
I
same.
think he could be a good game manager. He's never been a guy who threw hell interceptions.
Marcus Mariota's a game manager too, but he flat out sucks now.
What happened? Like, look at his first 2 years.
He was actually a decent quarterback.
Second year, wait, no. These are his full stats, which is his first year.
26 TDs, 9 interceptions in his second year.
Exactly. What happened to that guy?
They went 8-7, and then they went 9-7 the next year. He had 15. That year he was bad. He had 15 picks. But what was the year they won the playoff game? Was it 2016 or 2017?
2016.
When they beat wait, scroll back down to playoffs. I don't remember what 2017. Okay. Yeah, but he was 4 touchdowns against the Chiefs. Right, 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. They about passed him, so.
The thing is like I don't get what happened. Are you just eating pistachios?
Love
them. That's fucking amazing. You're just recording a podcast that you
Sponsorship, Wonderful Pistachios. Sponsor us. But nah, dude. Honestly, like, I don't understand what the fuck happened with this guy. Like him, it's funny. 2015 draft: Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston. Everyone says they're like gonna be the top 2 quarterbacks. They're gonna be stars someday. Jameis was like a Pro Bowler as a rookie. They threw for like 4,000 yards, and everyone was like, "Man, dude, when these guys like start to mature, when they start to grow up, and they start to play better, they're gonna be the elite quarterbacks." And we're at that point now, and they both suck.
I may rather have Jameis than Mariota.
I would too, but they still both suck.
They both do very much suck. All right, and the Broncos, Joe Flacco actually looked pretty fucking good. Not really.
Honestly,
good.
the Broncos aren't that bad. They have a good defense.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton, not bad. Manuel Sanders was held down, but Manuel Sanders is on pace for 1,000 yards.
Oh, he's good. He just had a couple games that he has not been consistent. But that's because the Broncos are not a good team. But they're not as bad. Like Colin Cowherd said, he's like, the Broncos are the best bad team in the NFL. And I kind of agree with that.
I agree with that. The shocker of the week. Nobody saw Gang Green beating America's team.
JTS, Jets, man.
Jets.
How the fuck did that happen?
I have no idea, but...
Sam Darnold is good.
Is Le'Veon Bell not good this year?
No, he's had a few good games, but with Sam Darnold back, it'll be better.
Le'Veon Bell hasn't been himself, right?
Because he played with Luke Falk and Trevor Siemian as his quarterback, and only semblance of an offense that they have.
I was about to say 85 rushing yards, 256.
Only semblance of an offense that they have is because he gets the ball. The only reason he's doing good is because his volume. They suck. They sucked on offense. With Sam Darnold back, I think they'll be better. But I mean,
he almost had 2,000.
Yeah, almost 1,000, yeah. So did David Johnson.
He did have 2,000 this year.
No, I'm saying 1,000 and 1,000.
No one's had 1,000 since
Marshall Faulk.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Bilal Powell still plays for them?
Didn't think so. Thought he left after Chris Ivory left.
Bilal Powell's been in the league for 10 years?
And he's been the backup for the Jets his entire time there. He was the backup when
he's
fucking
30. He's been in the league for 9 years.
Look at him. Look at his stats. He's been the backup every year.
Yeah, he had 2.
Oh no, because Chris Ivory got hurt.
Yeah, he had 2 alright years. So
But when he's been good. But when Chris Ivory was healthy,
good
when Chris Ivory was healthy, he was number 1.
He's a good spell guy. He spells out the backfield real well.
Yeah, he's a good complimentary option.
Complimentary option. There you go.
That's how some guys are.
We're at the last 2 games. Steelers versus Chargers. Delvin Hodges, for being an undrafted guy.
Can't believe that was a Sunday night game. That was a train wreck.
That was fucking awful. Dude, did you read the Chargers might move to St. Louis?
They haven't even moved into their own state in LA.
No, but they're usually at the Charger games. First off, they play at a soccer stadium. Second off, 75% of their fans at their games are the away team fans.
Same with the Rams. Did you see the Rams-Niners game? The entire stadium, there was a shot before the stadium, and it's man, there's a lot of red in this Rams home game in Los Angeles.
Yeah, they
because LA doesn't. People, the thing about the Rams and the Chargers is why it was short-sighted when they moved. They didn't understand that when the NBA had never been in LA. Back in the days when the teams were in LA, it was good, but then they all moved down to LA in the 80s, and those people who grew up now didn't watch those teams in the 80s. They watched the Raiders in Oakland and LA, but they're back in Oakland, or they won't be, and the Niners, the 2 California teams. And then people in San Diego like the Chargers. People didn't realize that. Oh, the Rams were like, oh yeah, we're in St. Louis now. Let's move back to LA to see if we can get those same fans. Fuck no. Raiders and Niners. That's all California. Are you kidding? And then the Chargers thought that if they went to LA, they'd have more fans than they did in San Diego. Fuck no.
Well, the problem with the Chargers is that they couldn't get money to get a new stadium. They had the worst stadium in the league, so they had to leave.
Yep.
Because they wanted the city to fund the stadium.
Yeah, I know, and it sucked, but, like, it's just like, man. Like, and you see, like, the Rams in St. Louis. Like,
I think the Rams will work out.
When they get their new stadium, yeah.
But I don't think the Chargers will.
No, I think the Chargers shouldn't have tried to be ground sharing with the Rams because the Jets.
The Chargers are going to move.
God, I hope so. They should have stayed in San Diego. If only they got a new stadium, but they.
I mean, I think it's going to take like 10 years, but like it's going to happen one day. I feel like it's just going to happen.
That's what the Clippers would have done if they didn't just sign Kawhi Leonard and try to rebuild their franchise. 2 LA teams. What's up?
Okay. How you doing?
Podcast season.
I see that. Didn't realize that.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
I just heard voices.
Yeah, we're now in a deep NFL talk.
You guys have fun with that.
Alright, peace.
They're always great little clips when Kerry walks in.
Oh, he just sees it? Yeah, it's funny.
He just walks in, you'll just see that.
But Monday Night Football, man. God, I watched that game. That was awful.
Was it really that bad?
The officials at the end of the game in the fourth quarter.
Another thing, the officials suck this year. I think we need to get a thing where NFL retired players get trained to become officials, and former NFL players are officials, and they're full times. The officials aren't a part-time job; they have to be full-time.
Yeah, because the problem is like now, like I don't know, they just suck. Like if you watch that game, did you see the highlights? So there was like 9 minutes left, and it was 22-13, and it was third down, and if the Packers got sacked, they'd have been pushed out of field goal range. It would have been like a long field goal. They'd had to punt. They called a hands to the face penalty on Trey Flowers, and his hand was like right here. And
I saw that. Yeah. Back-to-back plays, they called. Not
And
back-to-back. In the same series, they called the same penalty twice.
It was different drives, but yeah.
He was grabbing there. Look at the end of the game. They were like, "That's not even a."
The announcers were shitting all over. And then there was another funny play, and
it was when the announcers are even.
It was the drive before that second Packers drive with the last-second field goal, because the second pass interference penalty or the second hands in the face penalty ended the game. The drive before, Marvin Jones was third down. Lions were taking a shot deep downfield, and pass interference in the NFL spotted the foul. Marvin Jones was jumping up for a contested catch, and what happened was the Packers corner went like this and wasn't looking at the ball. He got there early, and it disrupted Marvin Jones's catch, and then they didn't call pass interference on third down. Fourth down, instantly they punt, and then the Packers get the ball. Lions never got the ball again because the Lions would have had 2 minutes left. They didn't call that hands to the face penalty.
I thought it was bullshit.
It was bad.
It's bad when the commentators are shitting on the call, because Trey Flowers has never been called to a hands to the face penalty in his whole entire
and those weren't hands to the face. He was grabbing on his shoulder and his chest. That's a move that he likes to do. That's what he does to get separation, and it's perfectly within the rules of the NFL because the offensive linemen do the same thing. Bakhtiari sold it. Still not a good call. Still a bad call. They fucked up really bad, and the Packers won the game. I mean, the Lions also kicked like 5 field goals, though.
What's this whole China thing? Is
okay.
So the way I see this whole China thing is that the fact that the general manager of the Rockets said that Hong Kong doesn't have freedom of speech rights, and then the NBA doubled down after giving support to the general manager once CCTV pulled their multi-billion-dollar deal. Then the NBA had chose money over protecting.
Yeah, because you saw the thing LeBron James came out and said.
But LeBron sided with the league.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And people were shitting on LeBron for it, which
I'm on the league side. This is a business.
Okay. Personally, LeBron, I'm not on LeBron's side, but you want to know why? Because he should have kept his mouth shut and not said anything. Because he wouldn't have had any backlash if he said, I'm not going to comment on this because I don't really care. Or, I'm not qualified to, I'm not going to. Him commenting on that made him sound hypocritical because he's spoken up for issues in America in the past.
Mm-hmm.
He should have just not said anything. But I understand why he said what he said, because the difference is commenting on issues in your own country is fine. That's what athletes do. They use their platform. And the NBA doesn't disavow that like the NFL does. It actually works out well for the NBA when their players comment on it because it's a good business move. But commenting on China is a bad business move. That's why they should have done it.
That's not your country, A. And B, China's communist. China is a communist country.
And the censorship laws, man.
So the thing is with Daryl Morey saying that is, look, yeah, we got what you're saying. That's great, but you got to think of the ramifications.
I mean, that's what LeBron said, and people are shitting on him for it.
And that's what they're saying exactly.
People who are saying LeBron stands for communism are idiots. That's not what he's saying at all. The only reason that that's happened is because LeBron James is just like coming out and saying, dude, you need to think about the consequences. He even tweeted, he's like, I'm not commenting on the substance of it. And we're saying, think about what you're saying before you say it. It's a bad idea for business, and it's all about business.
And the thing is, everyone's shitting on LeBron to the fact that like the reason why he's defending the NBA is because he's part of Nike, which Nike has a multi-billion-dollar shoe deal with him because 10 years ago there was a letter signed by the Cavs players that one of the Cavs general managers had said something about China or something, and every player on the team signed it except LeBron and this other player, and the other player was signed by Li-Ning, the Chinese basketball brand, and LeBron was part of Nike. So they're saying that LeBron is just doing this for his own business sake.
Which he is. No, I don't. And I honestly.
I agree. But you have to because LeBron is just as much as a businessman as he is as an athlete.
He's not just an athlete anymore.
He's not just an athlete.
LeBron James has not just been an athlete for a long time now. So you got to think.
Since the return to Cleveland, he's not been an athlete.
Yeah. Once he won his rings in Miami,
and came back to Cleveland. That's where when he came back to Cleveland, he came back as a man.
And the funniest thing was looking at the total value of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Look up value of the Cleveland Cavaliers year by year. So this is why, like, franchise value year by year, it's funny. It's funny to see the progression of when LeBron got there and when LeBron left and then when he came back. Forbes did it. Forbes did a stat of something on it. Yeah, click. It's really fucking interesting. Alright, let me see the chart.
Oh, charts right here. So, 03 was his first year, 222. Second season, it went up to 258. By his last year, the franchise was 476. Literally, the following year dropped to 355. And when he came back, which was what, 2014?
Yeah, that big jump. And then scroll up, bigger jump. First year after he leaves, already starting a decline. You cannot pay that man enough money. And I'm not even like a LeBron is the GOAT fan. I still think Michael Jordan's the best player to ever play basketball. But I'm just saying, you cannot underestimate the impact of LeBron James. LeBron James has been him and Michael Jordan are pretty close in overall cultural impact too, so. It's different. It's a different era. Different fucking era. Michael Jordan was really revolutionary for his era. LeBron's the same way for his. So, like, it's just, like, you cannot tell me that LeBron James is the most impactful.
Yeah, Rockies officials and why Carmelo doesn't fit in Houston. He's short on team defense schemes, one that requires players to switch often on pick and roll action. You just couldn't put him on the floor defensively.
Yep. He was too much of a liability on defense. And that's what everybody said. That's what the haters said, and they were right.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. Alright. This was a fucking long one.
Yeah, it was. Shit.
Alright, that was just NFL Talk. That was episode 13. So check me out on social media. See your Asseo everywhere. YouTube, if you keep watching the video form of this, will be in the description. But we'll be back Tuesday, probably NFL Talk. We'll have questions of the day next episode, because I didn't do that today.
Ah, shit, yeah.
But that's about it, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this. As always, hope you guys have a great day, because I know I will. So next, guys. Peace out.
Gentlemen.
So.
Oh, we're shooting a podcast.